Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our July member Q&A session. We'll just give it another minute or two just to ensure everyone gets into the room here, okay? Okay, we can get started here this afternoon. I'll just allow anyone else that trickles in within our presentation there. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our July Infrastructure Owner Member Q&A session. This will be our fourth session for this year. We also have the recordings of our previous Q&A session in our YouTube channel at the moment. So if you go into YouTube, Ontario One Call, you can search that up and you'll see our previous sessions in there. Keep in mind our Q&A sessions are divided between two groups. We have one for municipalities and one for infrastructure owners. So in this group's case, you will choose the infrastructure owner sessions. If you want to go to any of our three previous recordings that we had, of our Q&A session. For those joining us for the first time, this is an informal webinar session. I'll be providing a quick deal introductory presentation then we'll open it up to the floor for a Q&A session. And at that time, all attendees would have the capabilities to either type in their questions in the Q&A portion of this webinar, or simply unmute yourself and share your questions or experience and concerns or anything like that you want to do. Once again, feel free to share any thoughts, concerns, experiences. As for house rule at this time, please ensure that you mute yourself if you're not speaking. Once again, our goal for these sessions is to spark communication between yourself as members and ourselves regarding the new DL model as we continue to transition industry-wide. So you just want to hear from you, your feedbacks, some experiences you might be going through right now with some of the DL projects coming through across Ontario, and what are the pinning points we can work together as a group here to get, to move on to the next steps here. So once again, just doing a brief introduction of what Dedicated Locator is for those who are joining us for the first time. Dedicated Locator, it was introduced in Bill 93. So Dedicated Locator is a groundbreaking solution designed to enhance the efficiency of locate delivery. What that is that it is a single locating resources that is used to mark all underground infrastructure within a project area, which has proven significant advantages to large scale and long-term excavation projects. So here are some of the benefits of Dedicated Locator and what we are seeing out there right now, based on experiences and other projects that have been utilizing Dedicated Locator since last year of the inception, right? So main thing that comes across is obviously the gain control and efficiency. It allows the project owner or the contractor to get locates when and where and as often as their project requires, working hand in hand with their selected DLSP on board. Um, with that being said, it does reduce the downtime. So, it does reduce the downtime as locates are completed under the direction of one project owner. Therefore, the scheduling of the excavation can be more achievable, knowing that they have locates on site there. Um, One way or another as well too is, what we're seeing and a lot of feedback that we're getting is that it does help prevent damage. It promotes a safer excavation practice. Project owner contractor does have direct access to their DLSP within the job site to provide fresh locate markings or any clarity of the infrastructure prior to any excavation. Now, if you look at it on the old process or in the public stream, if an excavation is to commence, there's no paint on the ground, that locate package is invalid right away. And then so requesting a relocate, that is another timeline that's being delayed by the project, or in as simple as clarification of the marking and the locate report. If there's any uncertainty by the excavator, prior to proceeding to complete their excavation, they do have a point of contact with this dedicated locate service provider to come on site to rectify that to them, rather than going to the members and going through multiple steps and that cause delays for to have the members send out their own people to come out to rectify this the issue itself. So with this dedicated locator, they do already have on site there, readily available. With that being said, it works hand in hand to improve flexibility. So it does improve flexibility with your project with unanticipated conflict that requires project changes. So working with a DLSP to stay ahead of the excavation crew allows flexibility to shift dig areas when needed without having to wait for completion of a locate package. If we're, if it was under the public stream, once again, trying to stay ahead of the crew, or having another dig site or dig area readily available that already have locates on hand is not attainable, to what a project need is. With dedicated locator, that is all attainable going forward with having that flexibility. With that, in a member's perspective, it is a decreased reliance. It is the decreased reliance for members on the regular pool of public locate, for for the member, for their resources. So the resource that you use for your locate service provider to locate your public locates. For members, you are paying for your own locate resource to locate someone else's capital build in the old case, right, under the public stream. This is in good use of cost of allotted, of allotted for your locates for your company. So putting these tickets under, the DL, which will move the cost to the project owner and frees up your own resource to focus on your own regular locates, to, to stay ahead or be in compliance with the new regulation of completing public locates, and even shifting that cost back to to your own capital projects, if you have your own built and whatnot, that that to factor in. So moving on with this, I'm going to provide just a brief high level summary of how it works. And for dedicated locator, we're going to start off with the project owner submits a 90-day notice or regional request notice to Ontario One Call, with the selection of also the approved dedicated locate service provider. Now, the forms are available on our webpage there, or if you require, you can contact our team. We can provide you the most updated form that's required for you for the formal submission. Then we move on. Once Ontario One Call receives that, we do identify, Ontario One Call team does identify the buried infrastructure owners that will be affected within the project scope or within the vicinity of the project or region that the dedicated locate project owner have stipulated under requests. From that point, and the Ontario One Call does notify all affected members, indicating the project coming on board within their region or their affected areas, who the DLSPs and the main point of contacts at that point. With that being said, uh, uh, the members do provide the DLSP with the infrastructure records and mapping, and then from there, the DLSP completes the locate. Now, if you require an in-depth session of the full process itself, just reach over to our team. We can provide that on a separate call with your company there, to provide you a more in-depth process of with dedicated locator itself. So just give everyone an update here of what's currently happening, what we're seeing out there. What's currently happening is what we're seeing on the left side here, all active projects that are under the dedicated locator model already. So we have several few project owners, Electra, Amico, Bell, so all the Bell, City of London, Cogeco, London Hydro, and so on with that on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side there, we have the imminent side where these two project owners are very close to completion of their 90-day notice, and they're just on the final marks of getting the final approvals from their DLSP with some members. And so we're hoping for them in the upcoming months to be moved over to currently happening and active boots on the ground with dedicated locator servicing their area there. Project owners. These are ongoing conversations to whereas they're preparing to set up their project under the utilizing dedicated locator model. So these are still ongoing conversation where they're setting themselves up for a deal. Just giving you guys an update by the numbers. We're going to single this out. In previous sessions, we did provide overall numbers for year end to date. We still have these numbers here for you, but I want to highlight just for the June numbers. Going forward, I'll just highlight, previous month's number. What we want to look at is now we do have a data set between last year's comparables numbers to this year's locate request numbers that's coming in under dedicated locator. So if we look at the highlighted June numbers from last year, we have doubled that number for this year. So we are continuing getting more project owners utilizing the dedicated locator and transitioning to the dedicated locator model. With that being said, we are forecasted to excel double or even triple the number that we had year to end to date from last year's 2022 numbers. And that's highlighted there on the year to date. We already, halfway through the year, we already exceeded our numbers from last year's numbers. So it is just excelling with dedicated locator model. We are seeing a lot more project owners utilizing this system itself, and we're seeing that shift to the industry itself. Going by with the numbers as well too, just giving you guys an update to the active regions where we see dedicated locator being utilized and where most of these projects are showing up to. So you can see the top three there, looking at York, Toronto, and Ottawa, and the list kind of goes on there for the top 10. These are the main regions where we are seeing active dedicated locator projects on hand there. A lot of fiber to home projects are going through these regions itself. Second hand here are like the top 10 listed dedicated locator project owners that we are seeing on our board here. You can see the top two, Bell Canada and Rogers, topping the numbers there. Obviously these the broadbands are utilizing the fiber to home projects under the dedicated locator, giving them the more flexibility. Being able to complete the work at a faster rate with having locates on hand. So these are topping the numbers as project owners utilizing the dedicated locator model. So just wanted to share this across the board for the members to, just to give you guys a heads up to what you're seeing out there and what are the submissions for the dedicated locator service provider. On the left-hand side here are all active boots on the ground already locating for any active DL projects that we have registered to the system. On the right-hand side there, you'll see LSPs that are very close to being registered as dedicated locate service provider or coming through with a project for dedicated locate service provider. So we have the Ledcor, Tierra, TransCanada Utility, CCS. They are very close, going through the final submissions or the final agreements with some of the members that they are servicing for their areas for dedicated projects. So once again, in the next coming month, we're hoping to see them move over to the left-hand side there as active DLSP boots on the ground locating for their projects that been submitted for. At the bottom, there are just several listed LSPs who have we been having conversations with, who are actively looking into having themselves positioned as DLSPs as well too. So some members may have some conversation from these DLSPs. From this point, we did release the framework a few months back, where that framework itself provides a base level requirements. Of what most high-risk infrastructure owners are looking for in terms of qualification for dedicated local service providers. So most of these listed LSPs have the experiences, have met those frameworks, are utilizing and kind of positioning themselves on the next step to become a dedicated local service provider with a project owner. So as members, you may have some conversations with these LSPs already, and working on what your requirements would be on their next step to becoming a dedicated local service provider. Another update that we have overall as a company here for Ontario One Call. Last month we did, not last month, sorry, a week or two ago that we did release our newly updated website. So you can see here is a snippet of our webpage. It's been revamped, a bit more simplistic to view. With those changes, we also have an update on our dedicated locator webpage. Comparable from the last time what we had. So have a look. The web page is there, ontarioonecall.ca. On the top options there, you can select Dedicated Locator. It does have all information or resources that we have for all stakeholders involved under Dedicated Locator. So whether or not you are a project owner, infrastructure owner, a member, or DLSP, or just wanted to get information. All the informations are in there. We do request, if you have any feedbacks or concerns or anything you want to see on that web page, give a no, help us improve the format by giving us those feedbacks, and we'll be more than happy to take your feedback there to improve the what you want to see in there. So with that, that's all the update I have for this month. I want to open it up as an open forum now.